I want to talk very briefly about Bacon's idols. So, idol of the tribe, idols of the cave, idols of the marketplace, idols of the theater. What you'll notice is I don't ask you to really label these extensively in your notes, and I'm not asking quiz questions about them, but they're still important. And they're important because this is a moment where, so remember you saw this in the last video and we've been reading this up to this chapter, we're trying to add language and define and describe how we know and what all of that looks like in our brains. We're trying to understand our brains. We're not even there yet because we still think that the mind is out here. Like we're making reasoning and then it communicates back and forth. We had some very interesting ideas. So idols of the tribe, the cave, the marketplace, and the theater became a way for Bacon to understand and to explain why rhetoric fails sometimes, why arguments fail sometimes, why logical appeals fail, or why emotional appeals fail, or why ethos and authoritarianism fails sometimes. And it's not discussed in this book, but it's really heavily connected to a lot of the stuff that Nietzsche did. So Nietzsche's known for The Prince, and the ends justify the means, and he got to that place because he started a rebellion, and then he became, not a dictator, but he became the leader, and he had a group of people who were helping, and so it was a very specific form of democracy. And then he was ousted, and he got really pissed that he did all of this work, and then he was ousted, that he went into, and then Bacon is picking up on those ideas. When does rhetoric fail? And that's the key with the idol. So do you need to remember and have memorized the 4 differences? No, not for this class, maybe for another class. For our purposes, what we want to realize is that we've come a long way in rhetoric now at this point. So we started with how do we form arguments, and then we got all the way through, the demise of rhetoric, basically, with Christianization of rhetoric, and then into the Enlightenment, where we're like, wait, we want to understand why it works sometimes and why it doesn't, and this becomes one of the strongest ways and starts to why rhetoric doesn't work and why it's always sometimes not going to work. And that's really, really, really important to understand. And this is the first time that we've, like in the history of humanity, that we've gotten to a point where we can both critique and then also realize the limitations of ourselves and our abilities to communicate with other people.